Have you ever felt like someone was working behind the scenes to completely dismantle everything you built? Like invisible hands were tearing down your reputation, whispering poison into ears that once trusted you, painting you as the villain in a story they wrote themselves? If you're here right now, if something pulled you to this reading, then you already know something significant is shifting. You can feel it in your bones, can't you? That subtle change in the air, that quiet vindication that's been building like a storm about to break. Today, we're going to look into what's really happening behind the curtain. And I have to tell you, what the cards are showing me is absolutely extraordinary. Someone who tried everything in their power to destroy your name, your peace, your very foundation, is now watching everything they built crumble right before their eyes. And the entire world is starting to see exactly who they really are. Before we dive into these powerful messages, I need you to understand something crucial. This reading is meant to offer insight, clarity, and validation for what you've been experiencing. But I always say this because it matters deeply. Only take what resonates with you. If something doesn't fit your situation, leave it behind. Your intuition knows your story better than any cards ever could. So trust yourself first and foremost. Let the messages that ring true settle into your heart and release anything that doesn't align with your truth. The universe speaks to each of us differently, and this reading is simply one voice in that cosmic conversation. Now, let me shuffle these cards with your energy in mind, with your situation held carefully in my awareness. I'm asking the universe to show us exactly what's unfolding right now, what justice looks like in your specific circumstance, and what this person who tried so hard to tear you down is currently experiencing. The energy here is incredibly intense already. I can feel it. There's righteousness here. There's truth surfacing. There's a reckoning that's been a long time coming. Let's see what wants to come through. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is powerful. The cards that have come forward are speaking with such clarity, such undeniable force. We have the Eight of Swords reversed, the Tower, and the Justice card. Do you feel that? Do you feel the weight of what these cards are saying together? This is not subtle. This is not gentle. This is the universe itself stepping in and saying enough is enough. And I have chills running through my entire body right now because what I'm seeing here is a complete and total reversal of everything this person tried to accomplish. Everything they schemed, every lie they told, every manipulation they crafted is not just failing, it's actively destroying them instead of you. Let me break down what each of these cards is revealing, because this story is absolutely remarkable. The first card we have here is the Eight of Swords reversed. And I need you to really understand what this card represents in your situation, because it's showing me two parallel experiences happening simultaneously. And the contrast is absolutely stunning. The Eight of Swords upright typically shows someone who's trapped, blindfolded, surrounded by swords, feeling completely paralyzed and unable to see a way out. They're stuck in a prison of their own mental creation, bound by fear and limiting beliefs. But here's what's absolutely beautiful about this card appearing reversed for you. It means liberation. It means the blindfold is coming off. It means those bindings that held you in place, that kept you silent, that made you question your own reality are falling away. For so long, this person had you trapped in their narrative, didn't they? They created this suffocating story where you were the problem, where you were unstable, where you were cruel or selfish or whatever horrible labels they decided to stamp onto your character. They wanted you imprisoned in that false identity they created. And for a while, maybe you even started to believe fragments of it. Maybe you questioned yourself in those dark moments, wondering if perhaps they were right, if perhaps you really were all those terrible things they claimed. But the Eight of Swords reverse is screaming liberation right now. You are breaking free from that mental prison. They tried to lock you in, and more importantly, other people are breaking free from the spell this person cast. The blindfolds are coming off everywhere. People who once believed their version of events are suddenly able to see clearly, and what they're seeing is completely different from what they were told. Your truth is emerging without you even having to defend yourself aggressively or prove anything to anyone. The truth has its own energy, its own power, and it rises naturally when the time is right. You've maintained your dignity through this nightmare, haven't you? You didn't stoop to their level. You didn't launch campaigns against them or gather people to your side through manipulation. You simply lived your truth, carried yourself with integrity, and trusted that eventually reality would speak louder than their fiction. And now it is. Now people are experiencing you directly and realizing that nothing about you matches the horror story they were fed. They're seeing your warmth, your authenticity, your genuine nature, and the cognitive dissonance is so strong that they cannot reconcile the person standing before them with the monster they were told about. But here's where this card gets even more interesting, and this is where my heart absolutely breaks for this person, even though they brought this entirely upon themselves. The Eight of Swords reversed is also appearing for them, but in a completely different way. They are being freed from their illusions too, except their freedom feels like torture because they're being forced to see the truth of what they've done. They're being released from the comfortable delusion that they were the victim, that they were justified, that they were simply protecting themselves from you. That false narrative that kept them safe from accountability is crumbling, and now they're standing in the rubble of their own lies, and they can see everything clearly for the first time. They can see how they twisted events. They can see how they exaggerated and fabricated and manipulated. They can see the ugliness of their own actions reflected back at them through the eyes of people who are starting to pull away. This is not the freedom they wanted. This is the freedom that comes with consequence, with exposure, with the unbearable weight of knowing that they are the architect of their own isolation. And that brings us to the second card. And when I pulled this one, I actually gasped because this is the Tower. The Tower is one of the most dramatic cards in the entire tarot deck, and it appears when structures built on false foundations come crashing down. We're talking about sudden, shocking collapse. We're talking about lightning striking the very top of everything someone built, and the whole thing exploding in a moment of divine intervention. This person spent so much time constructing their version of reality. They built this elaborate tower of lies, half-truths, manipulations, and carefully crafted stories. They positioned themselves as the victim, the wounded one, the person who was so terribly wronged by you. They gathered allies by performing their pain, by dramatizing every emotion, by making sure everyone could see just how much they were suffering because of you. They created this entire social architecture where they were centered, supported, believed, and protected. They felt safe up there in their tower, looking down at you, watching you struggle with the isolation they created for you, feeling powerful in their ability to control the narrative. But towers built on lies cannot stand forever. The foundation was rotten from the very beginning, and the Tower card is showing me that everything is collapsing now. Not slowly, not gradually, catastrophically. This is happening in a way that feels sudden to them. Even though the cracks have been forming for a long time, people are seeing through the performance. The contradictions in their stories have become too obvious to ignore. They've told different versions of the same event to different people, and now those people are comparing notes and realizing nothing adds up. They've cried wolf too many times. They've played the victim card so excessively that it's lost all meaning. Every time they open their mouth now to speak about you or their situation, people are mentally checking out. I can see it so clearly, the way eyes glaze over, the way people make excuses to leave conversations, the way invitations stop coming, the way the social warmth that once surrounded them has turned cold and distant. The Tower is ruthless in its destruction because it needs to be. Sometimes the universe has to completely demolish false structures so that something real and authentic can be built in their place. This person is experiencing that demolition right now, and it's terrifying for them. Everything they thought was solid ground is turning to quicksand beneath their feet. Every relationship they thought was secure is revealing itself to be conditional. built on the entertainment value of their drama rather than genuine connection. The protection they thought they had through their alliances is evaporating because people are tired. People are exhausted from the emotional labor of constantly supporting someone who never seems to heal, never seems to move forward, never seems to take any accountability for their own role in their chaos. And the most devastating part for them is that they're starting to realize they did this to themselves. The tower wouldn't be falling if it had been built on truth. The lightning wouldn't have struck if the structure was aligned with integrity. This destruction is self-created, even if they can't fully admit that yet. I'm getting such strong impressions right now of this person sitting alone, absolutely confused and disoriented, asking themselves why everything is falling apart. They genuinely don't understand because they've been so deeply invested in their own victim narrative that they cannot see their own patterns. They're asking, why is everyone turning against me? Why is my life suddenly so difficult? Why am I being abandoned? And they're looking for external reasons, external villains, something or someone else to blame, because accountability is the one thing they've avoided at all costs. But the tower doesn't allow that avoidance to continue. The tower forces confrontation with reality. It strips away all the comfortable lies and all the protective delusions and leaves you standing in the truth, whether you're ready for it or not. And this person is absolutely not ready, but ready or not, here it comes. What they call bad luck, what they're interpreting as the universe being unfair to them, is actually just the natural return of their own energy. This is karma in its purest form, not punishment from some angry god, but simply the law of cause and effect playing out exactly as it must. They sent out poison, and poison is returning to them. They created chaos, and chaos is now swirling around their own life. They tried to isolate you, and now they're experiencing profound isolation themselves. The mirrors are everywhere, reflecting back the exact energy they put into the world, and they cannot escape it no matter where they turn. Every door they approach seems to close just before they reach it. Every conversation they try to start fizzles out into uncomfortable silence. Every attempt they make to regain control only makes them look more desperate and unstable. The harder they try to rebuild their image, the more it crumbles. This is the tower at work, and it will not stop until the false structure is completely demolished. And then we have justice. And oh, this card is singing right now. Justice is the card of divine balance, of truth prevailing, of accounts being settled according to what was actually earned. This is not about revenge. This is not about you doing anything to make this happen. This is the universe itself stepping in and restoring equilibrium. For so long, the scales were tipped unfairly. This person was getting away with their manipulation. They were being believed. They were being centered and supported while you were pushed to the margins. They were receiving sympathy and attention while you were dealing with the consequences of their lies in isolation. The scales were completely imbalanced, and that cannot continue indefinitely because the universe demands equilibrium. Justice arrives when the imbalance becomes too extreme, and it arrives with absolute precision. What I'm seeing with this justice card is that truth is revealing itself in the most natural, organic ways. You're not having to defend yourself aggressively or prove your innocence through dramatic displays. Instead, your character is speaking for itself. The way you've carried yourself through this nightmare is testimony enough. People are noticing the contrast between your energy and theirs. When they're around you, they feel calm, grounded, safe. You're not trying to manipulate their perception of anyone. You're not gossiping or fishing for allies. You're simply existing in your authenticity, and that authenticity is magnetic and trustworthy. When people are around this other person, they feel drained, manipulated, uncertain. There's always drama, always crisis, always some new catastrophe that requires everyone's emotional energy and attention. The difference is becoming impossible to ignore, and people are making their choices based on how they feel, not on who tells the better story. Justice is also showing me that this person is being forced into accountability, whether they like it or not. The consequences they thought they'd escaped are arriving now, sometimes in ways they never expected. Their reputation, which they protected so fiercely through their victim performance, is deteriorating rapidly. The trust they took for granted is gone. The benefit of the doubt they once received automatically has been withdrawn. Now, when they speak, people listen with skepticism rather than sympathy. Now, when they make accusations, people question rather than immediately believe. The social capital they spent years building has been depleted, and they're discovering just how alone they really are, without the artificial support system they constructed through manipulation. I'm feeling such a strong sense that this person is experiencing profound shame right now, even if they're not consciously acknowledging it. Shame is different from guilt. Guilt says, I did something bad. Shame says, I am bad. And they're starting to feel that deep core level shame that comes when you can no longer hide from what you've done, who you've been, how you've treated people. In their private moments, when the performance is over and they're alone with their thoughts, they know. They know they lied. They know they exaggerated. They know they manipulated. They know they hurt you deliberately and enjoyed watching you suffer. That knowledge is eating at them from the inside, creating a kind of internal hell that no external validation can soothe. They can't outrun their own conscience forever, and justice is ensuring that they have to sit with the weight of their own actions. The most beautiful thing about the Justice card in your reading is that it's confirming you don't have to do anything, you don't have to expose them, you don't have to gather evidence and present your case. You don't have to convince anyone of anything. The truth is handling itself. Justice is unfolding naturally, perfectly, in divine timing. All you have to do is continue being who you are, living in your integrity, and trusting that the universe sees everything and balances everything eventually. This person's downfall is not your responsibility to orchestrate. It's happening on its own. Because it must, because the energetic laws of this universe demand it, what they sent out is returning to them with interest. And you get to witness that while standing firmly in your own truth and peace.